Welcome to the Daily Jump, and today we're traveling to St. Albert, Alberta, Canada. And there we're going to be speaking with a chiropractor and acupuncturist, Bronwen Samuel. Bronwen, how are you today?
I'm very well. Thank you so much for having me.
Delighted to have you here. Just wanted to start our interview today by talking a little bit about what things are like in your part of the world and what are some of the impacts that COVID is having on your life, both professionally and personally.
Okay, well, as a small business owner in our community, and as we have been identified as being a non-essential worker right now, the clinic of which I own and operate and work out of myself has been closed except for emergency visits. And so that's meant a number of people that I work with were all home with our children or working from home, and trying to kind of navigate, I guess, our new realities of being at home. And so that has meant for me on a professional level, um, yeah, I guess essentially, for now, closing my business and quite grateful for having the time to be able to reimagine what the new business and what a new format of healing and service for our patients can look like. And on a personal level, it's been really quite lovely. I have been able to spend a lot of time with my daughter, and together we've been exploring new things that we can kind of do together. And it's been really lovely to watch her slowly discover the things that she wants to do. We've kind of let her, um, we've kind of been trying to give each other a lot of space during this time, and that space is starting to take shape for her. And we're seeing the things that she's really curious about and wanting to try and explore. So from that aspect, it's been quite lovely. A lot of downtime.
So, are you finding that you're surprised by some of the avenues that your daughter is moving into and expressing interest in and wanting to invest herself in?
I don't know if I'm surprised, but I'm delighted by the enthusiasm. And it's definitely reinforced for my husband and I how, uh, yeah, what that process of learning and exploration requires, and that they require space and time to just kind of to explore and figure out what that desire is within them,
Mhm.
rather than having us on top of them. So the enthusiasm has been delightful, but maybe not a surprise.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Do you find that there's a growing enthusiasm in her, or just kind of that
Yeah.
there's a growing enthusiasm in her with the
Yeah.
extra space and to explore avenues that she's interested in?
Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah. That's been really nice.
Wow. So, I just want to go back to something you said where you're exploring avenues for healing and service. You had a really amazing clinic, I know, um, and you yourself are someone with many, many gifts to offer. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're imagining of how you can kind of retool uh, what you've always been doing to be of service at this time with such unique parameters?
Okay. Good question. I I think in the more immediate term, one of the things as a profession we've been blessed with is that I guess our regulatory body has opened up our ability to offer, I guess, consultation services and one-on-one video conferencing with our patients. And so that I'm a, I, as a particularly as a professional, I've been spending some time reimagining how I what my interactions will look like, and how do I go about connecting with patients and in a really like an authentic and genuine way. I am not super comfortable with the video, as maybe you can see now, with the video concept, but it's finding a new way of being able to really connect and to see people, and then be able to convey feedback and advice and guidance, really, through that format.
Mm. So, through that format, what do you think is the most valuable thing that you have to offer?
Well, I think that it's probably the same. It's the same as what I really have to offer in person. So much of what I do, before I even put my hands on someone, is informed by what's already happening for them. So it's, by observation and by listening and by attention. And so it really is about offering like a complete presence and awareness and attention to the person in front of us, in front of me, I guess, in that moment. And like with I guess, a true sincerity to serve and to connect and to explore with that individual or that person.
Mhm. And you said that some of your clients have actually reached out to you wanting to have, because they connect to and understand that uh, a significant part of what you have to offer is in your listening and your observation and your um, connection with them.
Yeah.
Missing that connection with you. And even though you've got so many skills and blessings in what you offer through your hands, they realize that somehow, what you might be able to call that healing transmission happens beyond the touch. That's at least what I heard in one of the stories you were telling me prior. Does that feel like it fits or is accurate for you, and what that those clients are looking for from you that have reached out to you?
Yeah, I think that is accurate. There's so much in health literature that, like, so much of what we do as healers or as doctors or whatever label that we carry, or title rather that we carry, uh, is through that relationship of trust and genuine connection. And that's really, I guess, that's the true platform. Without that, um, yeah, then there's really nothing.
Mhm.
um, there's very little to build from if there's not that sense of trust and connection to begin with. And so it was actually the patient who reached out. I was quite taken aback. He made it sound like a joke, and he presented it in a very funny way, and so we had a good laugh about it. But I have to say, initially, and even though knowing that we were, as a profession, we were being offered this new platform to really kind of connect and help patients, um, I sort of questioned whether or not this was really going to be an I guess an authentic or a genuine way to connect with people that would help them and serve them. And now that you ask this question, and I you made me think about it in a new way, because it really is about a presence and a connection and a sincerity to really really connect and then see what can unfold from there.
You know what it actually reminds me of? So, one of my conversations a couple of weeks ago was with someone who specializes in physics. And we were talking about how the actual science and physics about how we create our own reality. And also, you know, one of the aspects is that just by observing something, something changes. So it feels like,
Absolutely.
and it sounds like to me, that's already been part of what you've offered people already when you've done the in person, and that we're kind of talking about now as the potential for you as someone who comes from a healing arts, with a specific modality, that part of what you've been offering people is a healing that happens. And of course, it goes beyond just the power of observation, but we can't underestimate the power of just being present for other people with all of our professional knowledge and experience, whatever modality that's come from. And I know that you're someone who also has, so you've got that modality of chiropractor, acupuncturist. You've been doing this for many years. You're a businesswoman, but you also understand more the mystic sciences as well. So you have the ability to kind of blend all those to offer a certain package
Mm-hmm.
that feels accurate for you.
Mm-hmm. And I think like you just mentioned, the presence and really having it be more like I think this new format really does allow us, anyone in this position, uh, I think it really has the opportunity to refine how we listen. And by how we listen, we're going to observe differently. And that observation does transform, has the potentiality to really transform. And I think that observation as well, so something I was thinking about last night, is it really does allow us to connect with the person in front of us, to really, mm, I guess, present information, knowledge, transfer knowledge in a way that really focuses less on what we are doing in that moment as practitioners, or as me as a practitioner, and more on how can I best empower uh, the person in front of me with what I'm hearing, with what I'm observing, so that then they can um, take that knowledge transfer or advice, or however we want to package it, and really empower them to take better care of themselves,
Yeah.
or a new way, or envision a new way of being able to take care of themselves on a daily basis, rather than the reliance on us doing, um, which only lasts for half an hour a session.
Mhm.
um,
So part of what I hear as a possibility in what you're saying is there an opportunity by actually removing the physical part of the work that you do for you to work with people on a completely different level? Because often, as we know, the physical body, will present a certain complaint because it represents something going on another level of their being. And so by taking away 100% of the focus, or 80% of the focus being on that complaint, I mean, that can still be part of the conversation. You're able to perhaps observe and take in a greater totality, maybe greater clarity with what's going on with that person.
yes, yeah, I think the potential for re-envisioning that way of, like you mentioned earlier, observing, is tremendous. It is very exciting.
Mm. And the other thing that I heard you in what you just said as well was the opportunity that's presented. Um, that usually when we go see a doctor, a medical profession of any sort, truly the ability to heal is in our own hands.
Yeah.
And sometimes we create a sort of false um, impression or understanding of the process by thinking that the other person is responsible, and that only by going to see them and doing things will I then heal, instead of understanding that we ourselves are responsible. Yeah, there's certain teaching that happens, that we learn from them, but it feels like you're seeing an opportunity here for people to take a little bit more self responsibility in understanding, and for you as a practitioner to teach them and empower them uh, in their own healing process, whatever level that they're at. Did I hear that right?
Hmm. Yeah, I think as a practitioner, I am certainly excited about um, my opportunity to learn to communicate how one is, yeah, that self responsibility for one's own health, and how to empower ourselves with either who we talk to and the habits we have and the daily activities, stretching, not stretching. I'm not trying to make it over, like, to make it simple, but also kind of how we live our life in a grander, like on a bigger scale, I guess. Um, that's a really exciting avenue for me as a practitioner to explore, because the hands-on stuff, the hands-on connection isn't an opportunity, isn't a possibility right now. Sorry, not opportunity, possibility.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it really opens up avenues for us as practitioners, but also for even me as a patient to rethink um, what my health and what my healing can look like.
Mhm. So I just want to end this by asking, from your professional position, if you have any advice for people at these times.
I think one of the things I'm recognizing for myself and thinking about not just my business, but about my my practice and how I serve is that I think there's a temptation, at least for me, to kind of get caught up in kind of the to-dos and the accomplishing, like the checklist of things that I haven't done in forever. Uh, and oh, I should go back and review all these things and do all this studying and um, catch up on this paperwork and do that kind of work, the busy work. And because there always is that list, there's always that work to do, and to resist the temptation to go there and to stay busy and just sit in the space that we are being given, to really re-envision and to be, and in that space to play, kind of like what I had shared at the beginning of this in terms of seeing what my daughter's able to do with this new space and this new, like, literal space and metaphorical space and freedom, where she can spend as long as she needs to figuring out a tune on the ukulele, or um, on this art project that she started out of her head. And that the same can apply to us, as we can give ourselves that space to imagine a new way of working, of living, of relating, and that to just have that space to be playful and not have an answer, uh, not have it all checked off in a neat little to-do list. And at the end of the day, just to kind of give myself, it's really advice for myself, isn't it? Um, to give myself more space to just be and just to play.
Yeah, those are lovely words to end with. Bronwen, thanks so much for taking the time to spend with us today on the Daily Jump.
Thank you.